3 wins and 2 losses. That was the Golden State Warriors' record during preseason. And I'm here to tell you, none of that matters. Because whilst we could talk about the Warriors' net rating or defensive rating, let's be honest, all that matters in preseason, and all that we wanted to see, was the new-look Warriors with their off-season additions. Oh, we also wanted to see this guy.
Zubac's on a switch. And Curry, he's already in regular season form.
Yeah, in case you were worried, Steph Curry is still really good at basketball. In fact, when you look at how he played in those last 2 games of preseason, he looks just as good as before he got injured in the playoffs. And for anyone who remembers, the version of Steph Curry we were seeing was one of the 5 best players in the league. He was efficient, he was explosive, he was single-handedly destroying an elite Houston Rockets defense. But before we talk more about Steph, this Warriors team is different. They might not have made the biggest off-season moves or a big trade, but as I've said already, and as we saw in preseason, if there was one move they made which will make a massive difference this year, it was signing 39-year-old Al Horford. Yes, I made sure to say 39-year-old Al Horford, because while so many people are focused on his age, we need to focus on what he's going to do for this Dubs team. And it's going to be so much of what the Warriors missed last season. Just look at him here, guarding Denny Avdija in transition. He absorbs the Avdija bump, Avdija then passes it underneath to Klingon, and Al then slides his feet and blocks him at the rim. Going from guarding Denny Avdija to then blocking a 7-2 center at the rim. That is why you sign Al Horford. And if you're wondering why Denny passed that shot off, it's probably because earlier in the game, Al blocked his shot in transition. Just look at the timing on that block against one of the best transition scorers in the NBA. I've said it before, but this is like having 2 Draymond Greens on the floor, with the strength, the IQ, and of course the versatility, which we also saw on this play, where the ball gets swung to Vanderbilt, who I know isn't the best offensive player, but he tries to take Al off the dribble using his speed, but Al moves his feet well initially, and with Vando stumbling, that's an easy block. Al Horford averaged about 5 points a game in preseason. And I'm here to tell you, none of that matters, because not only did he play only about 15 minutes a night, but the reason the Warriors signed him was because of exactly what I just showed you. Defensive versatility, rim protection, and a veteran presence that fits this system so well. And that goes beyond just his defense. Just look here as Steph runs the break. He gives it up to Al at the 3-point line. He then continues running, and it's a perfect dime for the 3-point play. How many centers have we seen play with Steph who can do that? That was 4 minutes into Al Horford's Warriors career, and he already did something that very few centers have ever been able to do. Well, like on this play where Steph drives into the paint, he kicks it to Al, and you can already see the chemistry as Horford passes up a shot to give it to the greatest shooter instead for the 3. And don't just take it from me, Steph basically said the same thing about his veteran presence.
You saw the pass he made to me at the corner on that give and go, so it's just kind of unspoken chemistry that will continue to get better, but he is kind of multi-dimensional as a 5-man.
And that alone is a reason to be excited. You have added defense, and you have added a guy who knows when and where to get Steph Curry the ball. And speaking of defense, Al Horford isn't the only new Warrior that is going to bring that. Allow me to introduce you to Will Richard. Yes, for the 3rd consecutive year, the Warriors have walked away from the draft with a steal late in the 2nd round. And if you want any idea as to how much Steve Kerr already loves Will Richard, not only was he getting minutes in preseason, but he started back-to-back games. And it's because he can do things like this. Zubac gets the ball at the top of the key, and watch the anticipation from Richard. He sees Beal coming for the handoff, and he just jumps the passing lane, forcing the turnover. That's not just good defense. That is high IQ, high anticipation, veteran level defense from a rookie. Or here, where Love brings the ball up the floor. Look at Richard get in a stance. Love uses the screen to cross him, but he's not done there, because as he steps back inside, look who has recovered and swipes the ball down. And the reason I love this so much is people need to realize the Warriors' identity last year after trading for Jimmy Butler was defense and forcing turnovers. That was what made them an elite team. And now they have upgraded defensively at center. They have drafted one of the best defenders from the draft. They have brought back DeAnthony Melton, and hopefully GP2 is fully healthy again. So what made the Warriors a great team after trading for Jimmy Butler? They have only improved in the offseason. Now, in saying this, I said preseason doesn't matter, but we also have to be honest. And whilst Al Horford, Will Richard, and Steph Curry looked great, one thing that was terrible from the Warriors was their turnovers. I mean, the first quarter of that Clippers game, it was a disaster, to the point where Bob and Kalena couldn't believe what they were seeing.
The turnovers went down, and I mean, this is...
And this is preseason basketball, but it's also been a problem for the Warriors pretty much the entire Steve Kerr era. Even during their best years, the one weakness from those Warriors teams was careless passing and turnovers. But the difference is, you can't do that anymore. This team isn't a super team, and whilst I think they're good enough to be one of the best teams in the league, that's not going to happen if they are giving points off turnovers every game. But the great thing about the Warriors roster is you don't have a chance to be lazy or make mistakes, because this team is deep. I mentioned Will Richard, DeAnthony Melton will return, Steph Curry will be re-signed, GP2, Pods, Buddy, Trace, and then someone who performed really well in preseason was Quentin Post. I know I just mentioned how good Al Horford will be for this team, but that doesn't mean Quentin Post won't also be important. If anything, he'll be more of an X factor now that he's coming off the bench. All of a sudden, Post can enter games as a backup big and just let it fly from three-point range. Everyone knows he can knock down threes, but over his last 4 games of preseason, he averaged 7 attempts per game. 7 three-point attempts, and he was knocking them down as well. You could make a genuine argument he is the Warriors' 3rd best shooter, and he is playing like it. And now you have 2 guys who have similar skill sets at that position. You can run the same kind of offense through them. So when Horford goes to the bench, it'll be a defensive downgrade, obviously, but offensively, it'll be absolutely seamless. And right now, the Warriors are a team that were great after signing Jimmy Butler last year and have only made off-season moves to get even better. Let's just cut out some of those turnovers. And if you want to hear me talk more about Will Richard and why he is such a great draft pick for the Warriors, click here. If you want to hear more Warriors content throughout the year, subscribe to the channel, dropping a like would be cool. Have a great day. Bye.